All right, let's talk about something that gets a lot of first-time visitors to South Korea scratching their heads. You get off the subway, you're heading for a beautiful mountain trail, and all of a sudden, you're in a sea of super bright, high-tech gear. It seriously feels like you've wandered into some kind of outdoor fashion show, and you definitely didn't get the dress code.
It's a feeling we've all had, right? You're standing there in your old comfy t-shirt and a pair of running shoes, feeling totally fine. But the local style just makes you second-guess everything. So what's the deal with Korean hiking fashion?
I mean, you see everything. These incredibly bright jackets, huge sun visors, people wearing full arm sleeves on a warm day, and even whole groups in perfectly matching outfits. And trekking poles. Trekking poles are everywhere. It looks almost theatrical, like a uniform. And today, we're going to decode it for you.
So let's start by just leaning into that initial confusion. Because what looks like a pure fashion statement from far away is actually something way more practical and, honestly, culturally important when you get up close.
And here is the absolute key to understanding all of this. It isn't really about vanity. This whole look is a system. It's a system built for function, for safety, and for a kind of social etiquette that's really unique to Korean trails. Every single piece has a job to do.
Okay, so let's dive in. We're going to break down the most common gear you'll see, piece by piece, to show you exactly why it's so popular and, frankly, why it's so incredibly smart for hiking in this part of the world. First things first, the headwear. Those big visors and wide-brimmed hats you see everywhere, they're your #1 tool for managing the sun. A lot of Korean mountains have these beautiful but very exposed ridges. A good hat is the first line of defense against that direct sunlight and glare, which can totally drain you after a few hours. Now the arm sleeves. This is the one that really confuses people, right? Covering up your arms when it's hot? Well, it's genius for 2 reasons. One, it gives you a constant shield against UV rays without having to re-slather sticky sunscreen all day. And 2, in Korea's super humid summers, they actually help manage sweat and can create a cooling effect as moisture evaporates. And what about the gloves and poles? The gloves aren't there for warmth. They're all about getting a better grip on trekking poles, protecting your hands on those rocky parts where you might need to use them, and a little extra sun protection. And the poles? They are absolutely crucial for staying stable on steep and often very crowded downhills. They help you keep a rhythm and take a ton of strain off your knees.
Okay, but why so bright? Why all the neon? Well, surprise, surprise, it's not just about style. Those bright colors are a safety tool. They make you way more visible in fog or deep shade. They make it super easy for hiking groups to keep an eye on each other on really busy trails. And yeah, let's be honest, it also makes for some awesome, super vibrant group photos, which is a huge part of the whole social experience.
But here's where it gets really interesting. All this gear, it adds up to something much bigger than just being practical. It's actually a form of communication. The way you dress for a hike in Korea, it says something to every single person on that trail with you.
This slide really just hits the nail on the head. In many Western countries, there's this less is more vibe. Minimalism is cool. But in Korea, your outfit is a signal of visible readiness. It communicates, A, I'm prepared, I respect this mountain, and I'm not going to be a problem for myself or for anyone else. It's like a language of shared trust and safety.
And this quote from our source material, wow, it just says it all. If you show up in the wrong gear, like wearing city sneakers on a slick trail, you might get this silent but very clear judgment. It's not about being mean, it's just a reflection of a culture where being prepared is a form of respect for the community.
But wait, there's another huge piece to this puzzle we haven't talked about yet. And it's that the hike is often just the start of the day's plans. And that simple fact changes everything about what you wear.
See, because so many of these amazing trails are accessible by public transit, a day of hiking very often flows right into a social evening. You might go from a windy mountaintop straight onto a packed subway car and then into a restaurant for dinner with your friends. Your outfit has to work for all of those situations without you feeling gross or totally out of place.
And this is the hilarious result, right? Those people in their well-planned, quick-drying outfits, they make that transition seamlessly. Meanwhile, if you show up in the wrong fabric, like a cotton t-shirt, you could end up feeling damp, uncomfortable, and frankly, like a total mess when you finally sit down to eat. We've all been that damp backpack.
So the big question is, how do you adapt to this without running out and buying a whole new wardrobe? Well, let's get practical. Let's talk about how you can pack smart for your own Korean hiking trip.
All right, let's start by just avoiding the 3 biggest mistakes visitors make. First,
overlayering. Korean mountains are often short but steep, and you build up heat fast. You'll be soaked in sweat in no time. Second, wearing fashion sneakers. They might look cool, but on the slick granite on these trails, a lack of grip is a real safety problem. And finally, the #1 sin of hiking in a humid place, wearing cotton. It just soaks up sweat, gets heavy, and then makes you freezing cold the second you stop. Seriously, cotton is your absolute worst enemy out here.
Now the good news is, a few smart swaps can fix almost everything. Here's a super simple 5-item checklist. Number 1. Trade those fashion sneakers for any shoe with decent trail grip. This is the most important safety upgrade you can make. 2. Switch that cotton shirt for a synthetic, quick-dry top. That's your key to comfort. 3. Add a sun visor or a hat. You've got to manage that sun. 4. Bring a light shell jacket that packs down tiny, even if it's a perfectly clear day. And 5. This is a pro tip for that post-hike meal. Pack a small travel towel or even just a spare t-shirt. It makes a world of difference.
A really great way to think about this is with a priority ladder. You start at the bottom and you earn your way up. Level 1 is the non-negotiable stuff. Shoes with grip and enough water. You don't even start without these. Level 2 is where you add big comfort boosters, like that quick-dry shirt and a light jacket. Level 3 is about trail etiquette, a small pack that isn't smacking into people, maybe some poles. And only after you've nailed all that do you even think about Level 4, the optional style stuff, like matching sets and big brand names. Always, always build from the bottom up.
So to bring this all home, I want to share a quick story from our source that just perfectly captures the final, most important lesson here. When you're on the trail, function will always, always beat fashion. So the rider is on a hike, feeling pretty smart in their serious-looking, neutral-colored gear, and they're kind of silently making fun of their friend's ridiculously bright yellow jacket. You know, it just seemed like too much.
But then, of course, halfway up the mountain, the weather flips. The wind just kicks up out of nowhere, and all that heat he'd built up climbing suddenly became a problem. His sweaty shirt turned into this cold, clammy layer against his skin. All of a sudden, his serious gear felt seriously wrong.
And that's when his friend, without saying a word, just opens her pack and hands him the highlighter jacket. And in that moment, shivering on the trail, all that judgment just evaporated. He didn't care that it was bright yellow, he just cared that it worked. It blocked the wind, he got warm, and the rest of the hike was amazing. It was a simple, humbling, and very comfortable lesson in local wisdom.
So we'll leave you with this to think about. If you are heading out on a trail tomorrow, what's the one weak link in your kit? Answering that question for yourself is the first step to hiking smarter, safer, and with a little more respect for the local culture, no matter where you are in the world. Thanks for tuning in.